Clockmaker's Workshop After Hours, a Lantern Hollow short story. By day, the shop on Hollow Lane is orderly, measured, exact, brass gears polished, pendulums aligned, tiny screwdrivers placed in a row like soldiers, awaiting inspection. The sign above the door reads, H. Whitmore, horologist, and Mr. Whitmore himself moves slowly now, not frail, just deliberate. He winds each clock before locking up, listens, adjusts, listens again. He pretends not to notice the smallest inconsistencies. A second that hesitates, a minute hand that drifts. He always leaves 3 small porcelain saucers on the back bench. Blueberry wine, homemade, from the orchard beyond Lantern Hollow. He mutters something about evaporation when Laurie at the inn asks why he keeps buying such tiny dishes. He locks the door at precisely 7, and then the ticking changes. It was not always their shop. Before Mr. Whitmore's sign hung above the door, before the tall windows were cleaned and the brass was polished, before the clocks learned to sing together, the building stood empty for nearly 2 winters. Dust gathered on the shelves. The front window cracked in one corner. A single broken mantle clock lay abandoned on the counter, its face spidered with neglect. Elves do not choose lightly. They do not settle in places of hurry. They do not linger where things are thrown away. They listen first. For years, they first noticed him on a cold autumn evening. He was younger then, not yet stooped, not yet gray. He carried a wooden crate through Lantern Hollow and set it down on the shop floor. The building was still technically condemned. No heat, no proper roof patch, one window boarded. But he did not flinch. He set his tools out one by one, not with ambition, with reverence. He touched the old broken mantle clock as if it had apologized to him. He did not curse it. He did not call it useless. He said softly, "Let's see what happened." The elves were watching from inside the walls. They always are. They live where craftsmanship lingers long after craftsmen leave. They felt something shift. Not magic. Respect. The first night he worked past midnight, he repaired that broken mantle clock. Not quickly, not for profit. He took it apart as though it were a living creature, laid each gear out in careful rows, cleaned them, oiled them. When he found the cracked spring, he did not discard it. He studied it, measured it, forged a replacement by hand. When he wound the clock again, and it began to tick, uneven at first, then steady, he smiled in relief. Not pride, relief, as though the clock had been in pain. The elves listened to that first steady tick echo in the empty shop, and they stayed a little longer. They tested him. That is their way. A traveler left a carriage clock beyond simple repair. Is it worth fixing? The traveler asked. It depends who's asking, Mr. Whitmore replied. When the traveler admitted it had belonged to his mother, he nodded. I'll see what I can do. That night, the elves bent a nearly invisible gear tooth. If he grew frustrated, if he rushed, if he blamed the object, they would leave. He leaned closer, adjusted his lamp. You've had a hard life, haven't you? He repaired it faithfully. The traveler wept when it ticked again. The elves moved from the walls to the shelves. They were considering him. It was winter that decided it. Snow buried Lantern Hollow in silence. Few customers came. The shop ran cold most nights. Still he came. He repaired clocks for almost nothing. Told Mrs. Hale from the bakery she could pay in spring. Fixed the schoolhouse clock free of charge because the children shouldn't lose their minutes. And one night, when he thought no one was watching, he set a small saucer of blueberry wine on the back bench. If there are hands smaller than mine in this place, he said quietly, you're welcome to help. He locked the door, left. The elves circled the saucer. Master Finch dipped one finger into the wine. They repaired one small kitchen timer that night. Just one. The next morning, Mr. Whitmore noticed. He said nothing, but he left 3 saucers the following evening. That was the choosing. For months, they worked in secrecy, repairing what he missed, refining what he completed. He noticed. Of course he noticed. He began leaving the saucers uncovered. Acknowledgement without spectacle. The revealing came later. Late winter, heavy snow against the window. The largest grandfather clock began to fail. Tick, pause, tick, silence. For 4 nights he worked. On the 4th, he removed his glasses. I may not be enough for you, he said. Master Finch stepped out from inside the clock. Not with drama, just a small landing on the workbench. Others followed. Mr. Whitmore blinked twice. I wondered, he said calmly. You treat time as though it breathes, Finch said. It does, Mr. Whitmore replied. They showed him the bend in the pendulum rod. He adjusted it. Together, they restored the clock's steady rhythm. He poured a 4th saucer. For work well done. You are not surprised, Finch said. Oh, I'm surprised, Mr. Whitmore answered. I'm just not disappointed. From then on, they no longer hid. Now, when the shop closes at 7, the ticking changes immediately. Small figures emerge from behind cases and beneath benches, boots dusted with brass filings, aprons stitched from scraps of ticking cloth. They stretch. They argue softly about tolerances. They hum to pendulums that need coaxing. Work first, Master Finch always says. They obey. They listen to the clocks, the way Mr. Whitmore does. They whisper to stubborn springs. They polish with spider silk cloth. They correct imbalances finer than breath. Near midnight, when the harmony settles into layered rhythm, the saucers are uncovered. They drink carefully. They toast to balanced escapements, forgiving pendulums, the folly of rushing time. Sometimes one grows bold and swings from a chain. Sometimes another startles the cuckoo bird early. but always before dawn. Every clock runs truer than it did before. At 7 the next morning, Mr. Whitmore unlocks the door. He pauses, listens. The shop hums with quiet precision. He notices a screwdriver slightly nearer to his hand than he left it. A shaving of polished brass curled neatly on the bench. The saucer's empty. He wipes the bench clean, resets the tools in careful order, and says nothing. Outside, Lantern Hollow wakes slowly. The bakery oven warms. The orchard lanterns dim. Snow melts in thin lines along Hollow Lane. In the small workshop on the corner, time is not chased. It is tended, and long after the door is locked each evening, beneath warm lamplight and the layered rhythm of ticking, small unseen hands continue the work, because in this shop, time is listened to, and when time is listened to, it answers gently.